भद्रं कर्णैभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागं सस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Let us pray together. We offer our salutations to the all-loving being who endows all beings with consciousness. We meditate on the Lord, who is the origin of the universe. Lord, Thou abidest in all, Thou art all, Thou assumest all forms. Thou art the origin and goal of all. Thou art the self of all. Thou art existence, knowledge, and bliss. Salutations unto Thee. May the world be peaceful. May the wicked become gentle. May all creatures think of mutual welfare. May their minds be occupied with what is spiritual and abiding. May our hearts be immersed in selfless love for the Lord. Peace, peace, peace be unto all. Let us feel our innate, divine, true self as a steadily burning candle flame. Let us concentrate on that. I am this light. Let us concentrate and feel that this light has pervaded my whole personality. I am light. And with that, lo and behold, the whole existence gets pervaded by the same light, one without second. All distinctions are dissolved in this limitless, brilliant, ocean of luminosity. There is no subject or object, no I or you, no inside and outside, no coming or going. It is this stillness, peace absolute. It is the source of all bliss. And transcendental love. Now let us feel that very light, that very self is appearing in all different forms. Let us see the differences and yet hold on to the underlying awareness of one without second. Om, peace, peace, peace. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. That is perfect. This manifestation is also perfect. This perfect emerges from that perfect. Taking this perfect out of that perfect, what remains is also perfect. Om, peace, peace, peace. Dear friends, when I thought of speaking on this topic, that the non-duality as experience, I thought that it will be a simple topic to discuss in this Sunday service class. But when I sat to prepare a few days ago, I found it is not simple to discuss it because of the many factors that need to be harmoniously brought together in this discussion. The very word non-duality gives rise to such diverse ideas in one's mind that to bring it on a common platform of understanding is not very easy. And to show that it is matter of experience is also not very easy, because our common experience that we have is that of subject-object duality. And therefore, we tend to understand non-duality also in the same in same terms, like non-duality and duality. There is this divide. I understand non-duality. Then it is not non-duality. For a long time, I had been contemplating on this, and one reason that made me think about this as a lecture to be given is because many think of this as a matter of intellectual understanding, just a matter of discussion, debate, and also to show the superiority of non-duality against duality. It is not looked upon as a matter of direct experience where the distinctions are dissolved. It is to be felt that it is not matter for just debating and argumentation. I heard many times and tried to explain that it is not so, that the idea that many expressed that there is no bhakti or devotion in non-duality. Well, the way I learned this from my seniors and also from many saintly people, and as I looked at the experience of Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother, Swami Vivekananda, I could not reconcile to this statement that non-duality does not have bhakti or devotion. Also, there is a confusion about the non-dual way of sadhana or spiritual practice and the non-dual experience. The experience of non-duality, as Sri Ramakrishna said, that it is the ultimate thing in spiritual life. That is the last word. But it can be approached in different ways. One of them is called the practice through the non-duality, the non-dual way of sadhana, which is not exactly same as non-dual experience. And sometimes confusion occurs due to this, that the practice of non-duality as a path to the ultimate non-dual experience. And then there are the paths that start with duality, assuming duality, and then continue for long time, and then gradually get to the experience of the total non-duality. The path can be dualistic or non-dualistic. Then sometimes the path of knowledge and path of devotion, they are thought as well. One is dualistic, other is non-dualistic. Not exactly so. And therefore I thought that why not hold the lives which actually are imbued, pervaded in non-duality, by non-duality and established in non-duality. When we look at those lives, then we may be able to feel that non-duality as a matter of a living experience. It is, therefore I decided today to uphold two very special lives. They are well known and they are, comparatively speaking, modern, means during our times. I am not going to invoke life of some Yajnavalkya that may be many thousand years ago, but something that happened during our times, who lived the life in front of so many modern educated people and have narrated their experiences, and others have also narrated their experiences about these figures. When we look upon these lives, we see that non-duality is not something that is to be just written about or to be discussed as a philosophical doctrine, but the matter of tangible, practical, all-inclusive, harmonious experience. It is an inclusive experience. It is, one can, always we see the non-duality without recognizing it. All our perceptions have the non-duality involved in it. It is, when I am seeing so many people, so many things, and yet the perception is kind of a canvas on which all these pictures are placed. And that is the non-dual background of all these dualistic expressions. Everything in that sense is, you can say, two and one. If you look at the chair, it is there is no duality about it. But if you look at the legs of the chair, the seat and the back, that very one appears to be many. Now, is this many and one, are they contradictory? They are not contradictory. The one without any change appears as many. So there is no conflict between the many and one in the life of a person who has experienced this non-dual background of this diverse experience. When you see the background, then there is no conflict as such. It is not, as the great teacher of non-duality, Gaudapada, affirms that there is no fight as duality and non-duality. The duality, is an expression of non-duality. If you want to see many, yes, that does not hurt the underlying non-duality at all. And when you see it together, then the knowledge is complete. Then only the knowledge is complete. If we see only diversity without recognizing the unchanging non-duality that forms the basis, the substratum of the apparent duality, then our understanding, our knowledge, and the life based on that all is not conforming to the truth, because we are seeing only a fragment of truth, only the appearances. The one problem with the multiplicity is that the many keep on shifting and changing. That which we see separate one from another, those things change. My perception yesterday is not same as my perception today. But what gives it continuity? What gives anything its thatness? This thought for the want of better words, friends, I have to use these words, this analysis of what gives anything its thatness, in spite of the constant change. Like you may say, 10 years ago, I told you such and such thing. Do you remember? The person would say, yes, you told me that thing. I remember, and you told me it at this place, and so forth. Now in 10 years, that person has changed in many respects. The appearance has changed. Everything really has changed. What has not changed? Why we say that it is the same person? You cannot find any single reason to show that there is the sameness to it, except that, yes, actually, in reality, there is something that did not change. And that unchanging, by the fact that it is unchanging, means it is beyond time. Change means time. If something is unchanging, that is beyond time. And therefore also, it is beyond space. It is same here, there, everywhere. There is no separation in that. Just as the example we saw that on a canvas there are different pictures painted. The pictures are different, but the canvas which gives them their existence, that is same. This is just an analogy, don't stretch it too much, to show that all the variety that we see has that unchanging background. And any spiritual journey is directed at finding, holding on to, and experiencing that background. When one can experience that background, then everything gets explained. As Mundak Upanishad describes that bhidyate hridaya granthi chidyante sarva samshayaha, then alone our confusion, the confusing knot about this, what is changing and what is not changing, what makes the thing itself. One may say, well, there is the form remains. I have heard many arguments about it who do not want to accept the unchanging and true background. They give various different reasons that how do we say that this thing is same as that? I had been sitting on the same chair for 20 years. No, the chair keeps on changing, it shifts. It is that famous analogy told that a person was wearing the same flip-flops for 20 years, putting the same, those flip-flop slippers for 20 years. How could it last for 20 years? Well, every 6 months he would change the flaps on the top, and every 6 months, other 6 months he would change the sole. Now what is a flip-flop? The two together. So both have changed, but still the same one. Every single particle changes. And still we say it is the same thing. There is nothing same in it. Yet that sameness, that identity is felt, that is therefore called tattva or thatness. In Sanskrit the word is very beautiful. Tattva means that, tat means that. Thatness of anything is derived from the unchanging background on which these changes are being seen. And so, when that is discovered, then all doubts get resolved. It is till then the doubts remain. And so, the research of science continues. It will continue because there is no permanent conclusion. It is, as the scientists call that, it is empirical. Means as the new information comes, it changes. So we see that in coronavirus research and all that, every day the conclusions change. Quite natural, I mean nothing to be blamed. That is the method that is being used for that. So, therefore, they will never be able to say the ultimately conclusive truth about anything. Here, when we see the unchanging principle, the non-dual reality that manifests according to the instrument that you use, then everything is completely settled. The experience becomes full. It is. What is the complete experience when you look at the animal crackers as separate? This is a tiger, and that is a crocodile, and that is a frog, and that is a rabbit. It is fine, yes, they are that, but they all are intrinsically, essentially, as substance, identical. When you know both, then alone your knowledge is complete. Otherwise, only separateness is not knowledge. It is actually misunderstanding. But when this separateness, the knowledge of the distinction gets pervaded with the intrinsic sameness, then not that the external differences vanish. External differences will still persist, but they will get overpowered with the intrinsic oneness. The duality is the fractured awareness that I and the world, that is the primary nature of the dualistic experience. I am this. So, it is we say I am this, impossible to specify what exactly it is, because it is as such not real. I am this, and then that is the world. Where from do you begin the world? Is your body included in the world or included in I? Very confusing question. It is because there is actually no division, and that forms the basis, as Shankaracharya explains in his introductory commentary to Brahma Sutras, that this erroneous division becomes the basis for all our research, all our acquired knowledge, and all our actions based on that. Our life is based on this terrible error that I and world. What happens in non-duality? This break goes away. This fracture in the consciousness vanishes. It is now whole. And that is what the sages experienced. That is, in fact, how they get called saints. In Upanishads, the word saints is used for those who got this experience. Those who get this experience of the non-dual nature of reality, they are called saints. In Taittiriya Upanishad, one reads this, that it is asti brahmeti ched veda santamenam tato viduriti. Those who know that this one without second blissful existence alone is, they accept that reality of Brahman. They are the saints. They become saints. Those who do not accept it, they actually reject their own existence. That is the beginning part of it. Asanne vasabhavati. That it is those who deny Brahman, they become themselves, they undermine their own existence. Those who accept the existence of this Brahman, they become saints. And that is why their life changes. Our consciousness about who I am and what is the world dictates our life. I am a man. I am a woman. I am a child. I am American. I am Indian. I am white or black or whatever. That understanding about who I am, then correspondingly change my world and my life too. I run after the world, depending on what I am. Therefore, all do not run after the same thing in the world. Not on the same towards the same thing. Some will run to watch the football games. Some will have no interest in it. They will have some other matters of interest. Some will be tremendously interested in music. Others will not. Some would like one thing to eat. Some others will not like it at all. They would like something else to eat. But what happens is our interaction with the world depends on who am I, my understanding of who am I. That dictates, that automatically says, so what I am not, it is world. And so this I keeps on running after the world. What is the result then? More and more dissatisfaction, more and more restlessness. And since you cannot grab what you want, more irritation comes, more anger and violence comes in life. It is all because we do not see the non-dual nature of this reality. When instead the non-dual reality appears, immediately the life changes accordingly. There is no selfishness. I need to grab this. Is gone. It is the love which is distributed without any other consideration, without any selfish consideration. The true love, is an automatic expression of this non-duality. And so, in the life of saints, you see that kind of love. Otherwise, we call love, but it is not usually, almost invariably a bargain. I give you this, you give me this. That is, whatever else you may call it, it doesn't fit the term love. The love you see in the lives of saints, and it flows all through. Also, there is no identification with body. You can see these important characteristics. They take the body, they use the body as an instrument. They do not identify themselves with body, and therefore there is no attachment. They join to a body for a function, and when the function is over, they remove themselves without any problem. It is like we have all these lights on when the lecture and other program will be over. This switch will be turned off. That the switch is put on, switch is put off. So you connect to the body, you disconnect to the body. Because they are not identified with body. And so in their life you see this amazing thing, that the body is taken as just instrument. Take it, leave it. So it is very funny. Funny in the sense we find it not happening in our life, so we think it's funny. It is the truth, friends, that they live this. And therefore, we are going to discuss two great lives today. They are just examples. There are many, many such lives. But I am taking up these two just as illustration. Any other life would have done, but I am very much impressed by these two lives, and one of them is Ramana Maharshi, a very well-known person in the inquiry of the non-dual philosophy or truth. So many, when they want to think of non-dual teachings, they turn to Ramana Maharshi. But one has to remember here that that was his life. It is not that the words, but his life was the exemplification of what the Upanishads and other sages have mentioned about this non-dual experience. It is a matter of actual experience. And in this context, let me also tell one more thing, that it is not only the Upanishadic or Indian thought that mentions it. Being universal, what happens is you will see it is equally echoed by the other saints' lives, saints belonging to different traditions and the scriptures of different traditions. You see that in the Buddhistic teachings, you see that in the Jewish teachings, especially when you look at the Kabbalah, the spiritual strain of it. You see that in Christianity, you see that in the Islamic thought, wherever a person holds on to it, whatever religion that person may be practicing, if that person is practicing it sincerely, gradually it will take that person to the ultimate non-dual truth. And that is therefore mentioned in various different texts of different religions. So let us now look at the life of Ramana Maharshi from this angle, that he was born in 1879 and in a small village, but then he had to come to a town, a very famous city in South India. It is from his place of birth, Tiruchili. So from Tiruchili, he came to Madurai, where there is big Meenakshi temple. Many go to see that temple, magnificent temple. So as he was staying there in his uncle's home, his father had passed away when he was a child, and so the uncle has taken up the responsibility of taking care of the two older sons of his brother. So as he was staying there, going to school and so forth, he had this experience, which he called the experience of death. Please don't confuse it with what presently, for last some years, we have a lot of literature about the near-death experiences. It is not that. Nothing about against those experiences, but that is a different thing. What Ramana Maharshi describes as experience of death is very interesting. And let us, I am reading it as he himself narrated it later. So, and I am quoting, it was about 6 weeks before I left Madura for good that a great change in my life took place. It was quite sudden. I was sitting in a room on the first floor of my uncle's house. I seldom had any sickness, and on that day there was nothing wrong with my health, but a sudden, violent fear of death overtook me. There was nothing in my state of health to account for it, and I did not try to account for it or to find out whether there was any reason for fear. If you try to feel the meaning of these words, you will see that this is not an ordinary fear of sickness. A person would react to that, that let me call 911 or whatever. There was no such reaction. I just felt I am going to die and began thinking what to do about it. It did not occur to me to consult a doctor or my elders or friends. I felt that I had to solve the problem myself then and there. The shock of fear of death drove my mind inwards, and I said to myself mentally, without actually framing the words, now death has come. What does it mean? What is it that is dying? This body dies. And I at once dramatized. See, the word dramatized is used, but it is just doesn't mean it was a drama. It means it was a very sudden, strange astonishing awareness that dawned upon him, that I lay with my limbs stretched out, stiff as though rigor mortis had set in, and imitated a corpse so as to give greater reality to the inquiry. I held my breath and kept my lips tightly closed so that no sound could escape, so that neither the word I or any other word could be uttered. Well then, I said to myself, well then, this body is dead. It will be carried stiff to the burning ground, and there burnt and reduced to ashes. But with the death of this body, am I dead? Is the body I? It is silent and inert, but I feel the full force of my personality and even the voice of the I within me apart from it. So I am spirit transcending the body. Now he has given it as connected sentences from which we have to, feel his awareness. This was not dull thought. It flashed through me vividly as living truth which I perceived directly, almost without thought process. Important, he perceived it directly without any thought process. I was something very real, the only real thing about my present state, and all the conscious activity connected with my body was centered on that I. From that moment onwards, I or self-focused attention on itself by a powerful fascination. Fear of death had vanished once and for all, and that was his life throughout afterwards. No fear. It is absorption in the self continued unbroken from that time on. Continued unbroken absorption in self. Other things going on, but the absorption in this self, that was a constant thing. And he has given a nice example. Other thoughts might come and go like the various notes of music, but the I was continued like the fundamental Shruti note that underlies and blends with all other notes. This Shruti is like a drone note, a constant note, while the other things, musical notes, keep on changing. This remains constant. So, it is a very important statement. This corroborates what Shankaracharya writes in Dakshinamurti Stotram, that various states come, but then the same I, ahamiti antasphurantam sada, that I remains the same. I saw a dream. I am in waking state. I was in deep sleep. I was a child. I am a grown-up person. In all these states, what remains constant is the I. So, that ahamiti antasphurantam sada, that I awareness remained unchanged in all these. Then he, in due course, it took some activity for a couple of years for him to change the place, went to Tiruvannamalai. That it is, they consider Lord Shiva in the form of that mountain. And there he spent the rest of his life. he stayed initially in this cave and that cave and then settled in one of those caves. But the interesting aspect in all that is that the sign of this non-dual experience, the non-dual life, is that he was not swayed by the so-called comforts and discomforts, good person and not good person, all some people troubling him or some people helping him. It did not cause any that anxiety or ripple or fear in him. One result that the Upanishads tell of this realization is one goes beyond fear. The King Janaka asked Yajnavalkya that this is in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, that what will be the result if I get this knowledge? And he was told, Abhayam vai Janaka prapnosi. There will be no fear in your life after that. That is the life. And one can read various reminiscences of Ramana Maharshi which exemplify this innate awareness of the same self in all. And thus he never got perturbed. If you read the signs of a person established in wisdom as given in the end of the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, all of them you can see manifest in this great life, exemplifying the non-duality. His teachings kind of summarized in a beautiful hymn that he wrote in one sitting, initially in Tamil and then translated himself in Sanskrit and many other languages too. So, this is called Upadesha Saram. This summarized teachings of Ramana Maharshi. So, I am just quoting translation. I am looking at the clock, friends. We don't have much time, but let me quote a few great gems from it. It is mentioned that it is actually summarizes what we call the four yogas. As students of Vivekananda, we all know about it. The yoga of action, the yoga of devotion, the yoga of knowledge, and the yoga of meditation. All these have been very beautifully presented in this. I am just reading, just as example, a sample, some of these. The commentary on this says that this treasury of instruction and guidance manages to summarize, explain, and integrate the great traditional paths of Hindu religious discipline, and then to show the unique way to human freedom. So, this is how this exemplifies that he says that we do meditations, we serve the world. He says the non-dual experience is what? To serve the world, looked upon as the manifestation of the Lord, is to offer worship to Lord of the 8 forms. Lord Shiva has these 8 forms. So what a Lord of 8 forms means, they worshipping Lord Shiva. As Sri Ramakrishna mentioned that worship the Jiva as Shiva. Jiva means worship the beings. Serve them. Service to these beings is service to Lord. You can see that Jesus also mentioning that serve people, and then that is the worship to God. So you find this here. And then he says, what happens with meditation? Meditation on the identity of the individual and the Lord, I am He, is more purifying than meditation that assumes a difference between them. So you can meditate. Of course, one has to meditate according to one's psychological state and the particular path. All may not be able to take up to this meditation, but if you can take up, then this is assumes is more purifying. The purification is more in this. And then by the power of meditation, devoid of thoughts, one is established in true being, and this is supreme devotion. See, this is the supreme devotion to get established in this non-dual knowledge. Ramana Maharshi calls it as supreme devotion. So path of knowledge, as Sri Ramakrishna mentions, the pure knowledge is same as pure bhakti. That is the supreme devotion. So he says this true I, the one reality, is not the body or the senses or mind or breath or ignorance. These are inert and insentient. There is only one being that can know reality. That one only being is itself reality, and it itself is consciousness. The what is called in Vedanta the destruction of this three varieties, the knower, the known, and the process of knowledge, Triputi Bhanga, as it is said in Sanskrit, that this trident, as it were, is gone in true knowledge. So this is what Ramana Maharshi describes in this. It is about 30 stanzas are there giving all the gems of his teachings. So now we will move to another figure. We have very little time, so I will give just a quick gist. Moreover, we shall be listening more about her next Sunday. That is, I am talking about Holy Mother. Holy Mother Sri Sarada Devi. Many will not suspect that how can she be an example of this life of non-duality? It is, well, that is in my understanding the most exalted example of non-dual life is Holy Mother. I have not read a life that is so much imbued by, permeated by this knowledge of the one reality manifesting as all the changing differences. That is why you see there that the love that flows without any distinction from the lowest to the highest. There is no mine and theirs. That is the expression of non-duality. All others that they have the I and the world, mine and yours, that is gone in Holy Mother. She was asked point blank by Sri Ramakrishna that have you come to drag me in this world? And he said, well, yeah, you have the right. I am your husband. She said, no, I have come to just to learn from you and to help you in your mission, to serve you in every way. That is why I am here. It is Sri Ramakrishna worshipped her in a ritual worship. He worshipped Holy Mother as Shodashi Devi, the great Devi goddess form of Mother Durga is Shodashi. And so Sri Ramakrishna worshipped the Holy Mother. Imagine a woman in her youth and being placed on the pedestal of worship, and Sri Ramakrishna worshipped her as the Divine Mother Shodashi, offering everything at her feet. All the results of his sadhana or spiritual practice were offered at her feet. And Swami Sardananda describes in the biography of Sri Ramakrishna that at the end, both the worshipper and the worshipped, both were merged in samadhi. You can think, this how that self-conscious a person would be. Well, I am getting worshipped. If even if somebody is adoring some little praise, one would become so self-conscious. Now, who is worshipping? The incarnation of God, Sri Ramakrishna, is worshipping this lady coming from a small village, and still she took that worship as if it is something quite natural. It is unthinkable that, and while Sri Ramakrishna worshipped her, you see, later and even during that time, many people did not even take cognizance of her and did not even show even the proper respect that a person should be shown. No, her own relations many times insulted her. Nothing caused any turbulence in her. She kept on loving everyone without a problem. Universal love, no identification with body. The readers of her biography would remember once she was what was thought to be just meditating, and then she exclaimed as if she is waking up and said, "Where are my hands and where are my legs?" And as if now she has to now put on the body. She is not body, that awareness is so strong. Now I have to put on the body. Just before coming for the talk, I was looking, now I have to go for the talk. Where is my this hat? I looked for the hat. Okay. So Holy Mother was looking for what? Where are my legs? Where are my arms, and so forth? What a great awareness of this non-duality. She was so compassionate to everyone, automatic, spontaneous, and also served the devotees. Many devotees, they would object, you are our Guru, you are Goddess, you cannot serve us. But the power of Holy Mother's persuasion was so much. She would say, well, I am mother. See, mothers, they do so much for the children. I am just doing this. I have to do this. I am mother. They had no words to now obstruct that. What a power it was. It is the simple life exuding the highest wisdom, that is Holy Mother. So that is, you see, the example of non-dual realization. Everything, people coming from different communities, who do not understand the language. And yet Holy Mother had no problem. She went to South India where that language she never knew. And yet the conversation was quite satisfactory between the one who was getting initiated and the teacher, Holy Mother, giving initiation. No difficulty at all. There are so many instances of this sameness that is described as one of the many characteristics of non-dual realization, that one sees the sameness in spite of the variety of forms. We all know that wonderful verse in the Bhagavad Gita, that there is the variety, that it is Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini, a person of very pious nature, endowed with lot of learning, that person, and a cow, an elephant, or a dog, or a hog, a person of wisdom sees this sameness. Not that he confuses a dog with a man, no, but he sees that these are only forms, sees the sameness. That was the life of such simple looking, most ordinary looking woman, the brightest example of non-dual life. So friends, let us meditate on this principle of non-duality, the source of all that we seek in life. We seek joy, we seek love, we seek peace. All this are sourced in non-dual experience. So, with the blessings of these great souls who had this experience, let us march in our own way towards that experience of non-duality. Let us meditate on it for a few seconds, and then in case if you have any question or comment, please ask it. Yes, please.
There are 3 questions, Maharaj. First from Annelicia.
Uh-huh.
First from Annelicia.
Uh-huh.
I am spirit transcending the body. Is spirit referring to knower, the experiencer, soul?
Yes, that is the experiencer. Again, let us not confuse this as the division between experiencer and experienced, the subject and the object. This is the experiencer which pervades all experience as such. It is not that experiencer separate from the experienced.
Next question from Olu. Hi Swami.
Hi.
How do we let go the duality of good and evil without falling into relativism?
Actually, the good and evil itself is a relativity. Good and evil, they have existence only as relative. Means in respect to some person at certain time, something appears to be good, that very thing in some other respect for some other thing would be evil. If, for example, if a person is sick and there is some infection, and a medicine is given to eradicate that infection, now it is a good act for that patient, bad for that bacteria. The bacteria would say, well, this is trampling on our rights. There are now all these different right movements, the animal rights and so forth. Isn't it, Naomi? Animal rights. Do the bacteria also should have their rights? They are animals, the rights to bacteria. Nothing wrong in that. So from the perception of the bacteria, that is evil. It is the good and evil are very relative. It is something that is, and therefore this is the only in relative world that good and evil exist. In the non-dual experience, both form, that the different expressions of the same thing. The difference is formed because of from what direction you are looking at. That is why when there is war, and say we are on one side, some others, they are the enemies. And so both are killing, but the killing of our soldiers is considered expression of valor, bravery. Same thing done by others, that gets called cruelty, evil. This is how there is this relativity of this evil and good gets transcended by the non-dual experience.
Last question, Maharaj, from Lakshman Thakur. Swamiji, could you please tell something about the Swami who went in Samadhi in a cathedral in Rome and is thought of as the foundation of RK organization?
Well, that was Swami Sardananda. Swami Sardananda, he was considered by many as, because of some statement of Sri Ramakrishna, that it is, he was the Peter. There is that Peter, so Jesus said that on this bedrock I will build my temple. So Swami Sardananda was identified by many as Peter. There are some other reasons also, but it was Swami Sardananda whom Swami Vivekananda entrusted the responsibility of being the General Secretary of the newly formed Ramakrishna order, and he did tremendous work to consolidate the whole work. So that is Swami Sardananda. So the questions are all done. Let us move to the concluding prayers. Before that, let me read out the upcoming programs. That the Tuesday, this coming Tuesday class is expected to go as usual. But on Friday, that is January 1st, we have this Holy Mother's birth anniversary, as well as what is called Kalpataru Day, Wish Fulfilling Day celebration. And that will be from 11 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. One needed to register for it. And all registration is done. It is the number is now full, so that no further registration could be possible. But everybody can join on internet, on our that YouTube channel, and can participate by that. The next Sunday will be and then there will be no Friday class of Srimad Bhagavatam on that evening. On 1st January, there will be no Bhagavatam class. That is usual feature of Fridays, but it won't be there on that Friday. Then on next day, that is Saturday, there will be the customary day-long meditation that we take up on every first Saturday of month. So it will be on that day. The Sunday, January 3rd, will be symposium on Holy Mother. There will be 3-4 speakers who will tell about the different aspects of the life and personality of Holy Mother. So, let us conclude with the closing prayers. May the Divine, who is Father in heaven of the Christians, Holy One of the Jewish faith, Allah of the Muslims, Buddha of the Buddhists, Tao of the Taoists, Great Spirit of the Native Americans, Ahur Mazda of the Zoroastrians, and Brahman of the Hindus, lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. May the all-loving being manifest himself unto us and grant us abiding understanding and all-consuming divine love. Peace, peace, peace be unto all.
Breaker of all our worldly bondage and adored by all, we adore you too. Stainless Lord, assuming human form. Stainless Lord, assuming human form, transcendent yet filled with love. You free us from the stain of sin. This is your form. Your eyes always purified by eyes always purified by knowledge. Looking at them, delusion is gone. Ocean of shining love and feeling, ever inebriated in your infinite love. Your feet always dear to your devotees. Your feet always dear to your devotees. Form our boat to cross this world. Revealed to us as God incarnate and the Lord of all things, helping us join with you. Your mind's all destroyer of our worldly sorrow and compassion so infinite is your word. Your life's offered for the world's deliverance. Your life's offered for the world's deliverance, saving us from darkness and fear. Renouncer of all lust and lucre, therefore you were always spurning sensual life. Lord of monks, you are the best of men. Lord of monks, you are the best of men. Grant to us pure love for you. You're fearless and you're free from doubting, with your mind very firmly resolved. Causeless refuge of your devotees, causeless refuge of your devotees, renouncing caste and birth. Our treasure is your holy feet, which take us very soon across this puddle of life. You give love and even-sightedness. You give love and even-sightedness to remove our anguish here. Our treasure is your holy feet, which take us very soon across this puddle of life. You give love and even-sightedness. You give love and even-sightedness to remove our anguish here. Greetings to you, O Lord, beyond both speech and mind. Greetings to you, O Lord, beyond both speech and mind. Yet you are the basis of both. O Lord, yet you are the basis of both. Great light of all lights, blazing in the heart's gate. Great light of all lights, blazing in the heart's gate. Darkness is destroyed by your light. O Lord, darkness is destroyed by your light. Greetings to you, O Lord, beyond both speech and mind. Greetings to you, O Lord, beyond both speech and mind. Yet you are the basis of both. O Lord, yet you are the basis of both. Great light of all lights, blazing in the heart's gate. Great light of all lights, blazing in the heart's gate. Darkness is destroyed by your light. O Lord, darkness is destroyed by your light. Langa ranga bhanga These are all the sounds of mridanga. Hid hid helanga ranga bhanga. These are all the sounds of mridanga. Spiritual songs devotees are singing for your worship divine. Spiritual songs devotees are singing for your worship divine. Jaya Jaya for your worship divine. Hara Hara for your worship divine. Shiva Shiva for your worship divine. Breaker of all our worldly bondage and adored by all, we adore you too. Jai Shri Guru Maharaj Ji Ki Jai. Auspicious and blessed graciousness sublime, all noble ends you give to us, granting us refuge, all seeing Gauri. O Mother Divine, our love to you. Creation, preservation, dissolution are your powers, eternal one. Nature's real basis, nature's essence. O Mother Divine, our love to you. We come seeking refuge from anguish. Be our Savior through your deep concern. All our suffering remove, Goddess. O Mother Divine, our love to you. Victory, O Mother Divine, our love to you. Blessed Mother Divine, our love to you. Blessed Mother Divine, all love to you. Blessed Mother Divine, all love to you. Jai Shri Ram Krishna Dev Ki Jai, Jai Shri Sarda Devi Ki Jai, Jai Shri Swami Vivekananda Ki Jai, Jai Shri Buddha Dev Ki Jai, Jai Shri Jesus Christ